Did the launch chair go off?
Yeah, you could see that. You could see it
So I had
in the sky when it disconnected up there. Gigi and him saw the explosion. I didn't know it.
I had lunch.
Because they just launched right over here.
I had lunch.
I was buried in a beaver.
How was your lunch?
No, they don't have sound right, man.
That's what you want to do. That's right. They don't have sound.
They do?
No,
They don't have sound.
it's just picture.
Oh, is it?
Just
Just picture.
sound taped in here, isn't
You sneaky.
That's why I want to say no. I wanted to know.
Okay.
Yeah. They believe that section out right there.
Now you got to do a 5-minute monologue over this.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
5-minute monologue to cover it, man.
What a friend we have in the editor.
We have people.
Really? Because it looks like Casey's teaching you how to kiss out of pity.
Oh, well, honey, show me. Yes.
Okay.
This is getting better. It's getting better.
Okay.
This is getting better. It's getting better.
Okay.
Oh, how I finally found something worth living for. I was looking for some action when all I found was cigarettes and alcohol. sunshine. You might as well score the white line.
Elvis, there's a story I have to tell to the world that's never been told before. Elvis, one rainy, hot summer night here in Nashville about 7 or 8 years ago, what you did for me will always be a part of my life forever, as you will be for millions. You see, I was sitting on the back steps of RCA's Studio B that hot summer night, I guess trying to get out of the rain, not knowing it was you inside the studio recording, when some man opened the door and I stood up, and he asked me if I would go after some candy bars. I guess maybe he thought I worked there as a cleanup boy or something, but I really didn't. When I got back to the studio door, the candy bars in the paper bag was wet, and so was I. You see, I hadn't had a car for about 6 years. I knocked on the door, and the same man let me in. Then I heard a voice ask that I bring the candy bars into the studio. When I saw it was you that I got the candy bars for, I became very weak all over. I guess it was too much for a poor boy and a nobody like me to be bringing candy bars to a king like you. I remember you asked me my name and shook my hand and thanked me. And then you reached in your pocket and gave me a $20 bill and said, "Here, I want you to have this." You never did know it, Elvis, but that $20 bill, I guess in a big way, saved my life. You see, I'd been sleeping in the back of an old wrecked station wagon just up from the studio for about 11 days with only change in my pocket. And to be honest, I really hadn't eaten for almost 2 days. I never did see you again after that, but I want the whole world to know, if they don't already, the many little and big things you did for many people, such as myself. Elvis, I only wish I could have the chance again today to run to that same little store in the rain to get you some more candy bars.
tamer than you were, I think. You had a more wild image. Am I correct in thinking that?
Well, I think Elvis was a little bit more conservative than I was. He hid himself more, I would say, from the public than I did. I was more wide open than Elvis. I never hid anything. Or whatever I did, I never tried to hold it a secret.
There's one story that is, I read constantly about you, that you went to Graceland, you had a gun, the sheriff comes, takes you away. What is the truth behind that story, if there is any, but what happened?
Elvis, in the last days there, he was, well, about 15 times he called me on the phone, you know, and he said, Jerry, I got to see you. It's very important. I'm very depressed, and I want to talk to you, you know, and he'd talk to you bad. And I just couldn't visualize Elvis Presley being down and out, depressed about anything. You know, I shunned him off, and I didn't go, you know. And one night he called me down at the Vapors Club there in Memphis, about a mile or so from his home. And it was about 2 o'clock in the morning, and to admit the truth about it, I was drinking a lot of champagne that night. I don't drink champagne that much. And it made me a little wild, you know.
A little bit.
And so, yeah, really. And so, to say the least. So I went out and got my Lincoln car, you know. I said, well, I'm going to come down and see you, so I'll be there in a minute, you know. So I walked outside, and Mr. Ford, Charlie Foreman, who owned the Vapors, he said, Jerry, just a minute, I have a present for you. And he gave me this .38 Dillinger pistol. It was brand new. Had never been fired. I still have it. Never has been fired. And I said, oh, thank you, Mr. Ford. And I went to put it in my glove compartment. He said, no, put this on the dashboard. If you conceal it in your glove compartment, the law will run you down, it's against the law. But if you put it on your dashboard, not conceal it, it's not against the law. Take it home. I said, okay, well, I forgot I was going by Elvis's house.
So you drove by with the gun out?
So I drove by and the gun was laying on the dashboard. And when I turned into Elvis's house, the front end of that Lincoln looked like it was a mile long to me. And I misjudged it, and I run into his gate. And he had hired a new guard. Travis wasn't on the gate. His uncle. He had a new guard on the gate. So he come running out there, and I hit the gate, and it was shaking all over like he was doing a show on there, you know. And it was kind of funny to me, I don't know. And he said, well, what do you want? I said, well, Elvis called me and want to see me. He said, yeah, who are you? I said, well, just tell him Jerry Lee's here, you know. And he saw that gun on the door of the car. And he ran back and he called the law. And so I'm sitting there, you know, and a minute later, the law, about 5 or 6 squad cars surrounded my car, you know. I'm sitting there looking at it, and I was really loaded. And I went to put the seat back on the car, and instead of putting the seat back, I was putting the window down. And I didn't know it. I threw this champagne bottle out the window, and I thought it was down, and knocked the whole window clean out. So they knew I was loaded. And it was embarrassing. And I said, what are you going to do with that gun? You going to shoot Elvis Presley? I said, well, if you're silly enough to think that, I said, probably so.
And that's where it came.
And they said, get out of that car, the old kid. That was the deal on that. And Elvis waited and waited and waited on me. You know?
Was there ever any competition between the two of you? Did you ever feel that I mean, you're both, you know, the leaders of a movement, almost a revolution?
We considered ourselves both kings of rock and roll, so to speak. I mean, in our own way. He considered himself the #1 artist. I did too. And the honest thing, I'd done what I wanted to do. Elvis, he wanted to do the things I did, but he was scared too. And he tried to do it and hide it. And so I said, Elvis, you know, you ought to be your own man, do what you want to do. Don't let these people tell you what to do. Well, Elvis Presley was a fine person, and I missed him very much, and he was one of my dear friends, somebody I could depend on, you know?
When you talk about, as you saw yourself as, you both saw yourself as kings, a question I was wanting to ask you is, when the history of rock and roll is written, where will your place be?
Well, I was the first artist inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for
majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His rays on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for pilgrim feet whose turning passions stress, a thoroughfare for freedom beats across the wilderness. America, America, God mend thine every flaw, confirm thy soul in self-control, thy liberty at law. Oh, beautiful for heroes proved in liberating strife, who more than self their country loved, and mercy more than life. America, America, may God thy gold refine, till all success be nobleness, and every gain divine. Oh, beautiful for patriots' dream that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, and dimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His rays on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. But if he started it up, he wouldn't know where to build to, you know. Just run scared, afraid to lose. Kids, very horny wife. Me tender, screw staggly. Yeah, oh, yeah. Go staggly, staggly, staggly.
Your heart, please, making a selection of your wardrobe for your casual wear.
Not especially. Not especially because I don't know that much about clothes. It doesn't make a difference, really.
However, you have become a little bit more conservative.
Well, you get a little older, you know. That's like the sideburns. They were okay for a while, but you outgrow them.
Don't you miss them?
The sideburns?
Yeah.
Not especially, no. The Army took care of those. If I answered that, I'd lose a lot of friends.
How about the room about Nancy Sharp?
Is Nita around here anywhere? No, I don't know. It was just one of those deals, you know. I just dated her for a few times. It's kind of funny. You go out with a girl and a couple times, and it's a big romance, you know. They had me married a couple times. I was down on Wilshire Boulevard one night, and some people. I was in the lobby of the theater. Some people said, "I thought you were in Mexico City on your honeymoon." And I come to find out that it was in a Mexican paper that I was eloped and was coming there to get married. And they had a hotel suite reserved and all that stuff. And I didn't even know the girl I was supposed to be married to. Things like that happen.
Elvis, most show people have superstitions. Do you have any particular superstitions?
Well, I'm pretty superstitious about certain. You talking about black cats, things like that?
Any ones in particular? Do you have any particular superstitions that you
No, just little things like breaking mirrors, things like that. Photographers. You said that's your line.
Elvis, do you still consider Nita Wood just a friend?
Well, yeah. I mean, I see her quite a bit, but there's nothing really serious. I see a lot of people quite a bit. These photographers are taking pictures of each other now.
Elvis, do you do much thinking ahead?
Quite a bit, yes.
Just let things take its course. What do you see your place in the entertainment world 10 years from now?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Johnson, I wouldn't say, because the entertainment world is so unpredictable, and people change and times change. It would be hard to say, really. I wouldn't try to answer that, because the only thing I can say is that I'm trying to make it acting, you know. I mean, it takes a long time, a lot of work, a lot of experience. But I'm trying to make it that way, and if I can get established that way, I'm okay.
Get away from it all.
The government won't let me take my money. Get away from it all. No, I enjoy it. Anytime I want to be alone, I can be, you know.
Well, I know.
But these are the type of things that you take advantage of while they last. You know, you take advantage of it because you may not have it later, and you'll miss it, you know. You'll miss the people, you'll miss all the razzle-dazzle and so forth. Well, I have a pretty good time. And so forth.
Always feel like home when you get back to Memphis.
Yes, I do.
Good. That we won't keep.
It sure does. That's one reason that I'll keep a home here, because I like California. I like to work there. But when the picture's over, I look forward to getting out of there and coming back home. And also, I'm right near Tupelo, and I know a lot of people down there. Same old crowd that I was raised up with still live there in the same houses. I was down there about 3 weeks ago. And the wind had blown the sign down. They got, with that youth center being built, they got a big sign up. The wind had blown it down. We tried to put it back up, and it fell on us. There was three of us trying to lift it back up. The sign fell on us.
Did you anticipate the youth center being down?
I couldn't tell you. It's going to take a lot of money. But it will be eventually. I couldn't say when. But I'm trying to make it that way, and if I can get established that way, I'm okay. But now, I don't know how long the music end of it will last. I don't know how long I'll last. I got no idea really.
Now you only have two persons to understand the plan.
Right.
You plan to go barnstorming again in the future?
Well, the colonel could probably answer that better than I. There's nothing planned right now. I know that eventually we've got to do a European tour to all these countries like that presented these awards and things, you know. But I don't know exactly. Are we going to be doing any?
We're waiting for the deposit.
He said that. I didn't say
What's your weight now, Elvis?
180.
What were you when you came out about a year ago?
175 when I came out. I gained about 5 pounds.
The mortal death of Elvis Aaron Presley on August 16th certainly has done very little to stunt his global popularity. As nearly 30,000 fans swarmed to his Memphis home of Graceland to commemorate the 20th anniversary of his death, we are reminded that the King of Rock is bigger than ever. From his humble beginnings in Tupelo, Mississippi, to his outrageous standing-room-only gigs in Vegas, Elvis Presley was the first and biggest rock star of all time, winning fans of all ages with his stirring, soulful voice, swinging hips, and smooth Southern charm. Those doubting Elvis's title as the king need only witness his 94 gold singles, 40-some gold albums, and movies collectively grossing over $180 million. Elvis's impact on rock itself is, of course, incalculable. Fashioning himself after screen idols James Dean and Marlon Brando, Elvis transformed himself into rock's original rebel. He was also perhaps its greatest stage performer, and certainly the most imitated. From his nasty curled lips and shaking hips of the early years to the exhilarating supersonic karate chops later on, Elvis never relented, always giving 100% of himself to his adoring fans, his performances dynamic, electrifying, and deeply soulful. Presley was a true American icon. His unlikely rise to superstardom is a rock and roll Cinderella story straight from the Americana of Horatio Alger. He was the truck-driving good old boy made glorious, the blue-collar kid next door who adamantly loved his mother and selflessly served his country when called. While the king may have lived in the lap of luxury, he still loved munching on fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches and playing tackle football with the boys. Whether it's Elvis sightings, skydiving Elvi, or Lisa Marie marrying Wacko Jacko, it seems that the king's smoky gaze is forever upon us. As Elvis's star began to rise, he was almost perpetually on the road, traveling from one small country town to another, staying in cheap hotels and mesmerizing audiences wherever he went. What follows is an ultra-rare press conference with the young man who would be king, held in La Crosse, Arkansas, in the beginning.
We're in the Stars dressing room of the Mary E. Sawyer Auditorium. And what a fabulous night this has been. We're very happy to have with us here Mr. Elvis Presley. How are you, Elvis?
Fine, sir. How are you?
Terrific. You know, I've lived in La Crosse all my life, and this is the first time I've seen anything like this happen.
Well, it's good. It's the first time I've been on this part of the country.
Where do you hail from, Elvis?
I'm from, well, I was born in Mississippi, but I live in Memphis, Tennessee.
I see.
Now,
and this is a very controversial question. How old are you? They say 18, 19, 20, 21. Give us the official date now.
I'm 21.
21.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I want to ask you, I've been reading up on your career. You've been in the business for about 2 years now. And what was the first song that you ever sang to an audience? Could that have been the Red Foley thing of Old Shep?
Old Shep, that's right. Well, that was when I was about 7 or 8 years old when I sang that song.
I see. And the gentleman who accompanied you tonight, that was Scotty and Bill?
Scotty and Bill and DJ Fontana.
On the drums, huh?
Yes.
And they've been with you ever since you've started your fabulous
Scotty
career?
and Bill have the drummer has been with me for about 2 or 3 months.
I see. The first record you ever cut for the Sun label was this Blue Moon of Kentucky, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right.
Mm-hmm. And I understand it had real great response down there when it was first played by the DJs.
Well, it did okay, but it kind of surprised me. I thought they would laugh me out of town.
I noticed there was a very heavy echo effect in that, more than some of the others.
Yes,
it really
was a lot of echo on it.
Mm-hmm. The people around town here thought that the first recording you ever made was I Forgot to Remember to Forgive, because that was the first one released.
Oh, that was the fifth one.
I see.
I forgot to remember.
But the first one released on the Victor label.
Yes, that's right.
Well, you certainly are, without a doubt, the #1 selling artist in the nation now. You have the #1 record and the top selling album. Now, what do you do in your spare time? If you have any.
I haven't got any, really. But when I do get some time off, I always go home and see my folks, and I ride a motorcycle and do different things.
You have a favorite sport, too, haven't you? Water skiing?
Yeah, I do a little water skiing. I like football, I like boxing.
Mm-hmm. Teenagers have inquired about your forthcoming movie career, too. Now, maybe that's a little too early to talk about, but I see you're signed by Hal Wallace and Company out of Paramount.
Yes.
Can you tell us anything about the first movie that will be made?
Well, I couldn't tell you the name of it because I don't know. They're writing me a play. I was offered a part in The Rainmaker.
I see. Quite a dramatic bit, isn't it?
Well, it was, but it wasn't the character in it. I didn't feel I could do it the way that it should be done.
I see. Well, you're certainly in the position to pick the role that you want right now, I'll say that. Where do you go from here, Elvis?
I play Memphis tomorrow night, which is Tuesday night.
Boy, that's a lot of traveling there. About 700 miles or so. You're going to
795. I'm going to fly.
Fly. Mm-hmm. Well, let's see. The fans have asked me so many questions here. Do you have any particular experience that sticks in your mind, something that has happened during your 2-year career? Anything that you'd like to tell us about?
Well, there's so many things that have happened that I can't think of any particular.
How about the Las Vegas incident? You were down there just about 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
A completely different type of audience, I understand.
Well, it was strictly an adult audience and mostly elderly people.
Mm-hmm. Did it take a little while to warm them up to your style of singing? Or?
It took, well, the first night especially, I was absolutely scared still.
Mm-hmm.
And
but from reading some of the reviews, I understand they responded quite well, though.
Well, afterwards, I got a little more relaxed, and I worked a little harder, and I finally got them on my side a little bit.
Mm-hmm. You sang this Only You tonight. Do you have any plans of recording that for RCA?
No, I've been doing it ever since it's been out.
I see. Your new release, I understand, has sold over 300,000 copies for RCA, and they had that many orders before it was released. So this could be another second million for you.
The last account I had, it had reached a 500,000.
It's really fabulous.
I don't know how many it will sell.
Another thing that the teenagers are interested in is future television appearances. I understand you're going to be on the Milton Berle Show?
Yes, the Milton Berle Show, the 5th of June. After that, I don't know where I'm going.
Mm-hmm. Well, we certainly don't want to keep you, Elvis, because I know you have a lot of things to do, and the next show will be coming up very, very shortly. I want to thank you very much for talking with us this evening.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks a lot for playing my records.
You bet you do.
And I'll keep trying to give you something to play.
The ones that you've had out so far have been terrific. They've all been great sellers down at Lighthouse.
Well, thank you very much.
You know, this album of Blue Suede Shoes, we sold that like a single. We sold more of that than we averagely sell a single, and that's what amazed us down there. You're about the first guy to have ever done that for RCA, I'm sure of that.
Well, I don't know. I hate to say yeah to something like bragging.
Well, thank you very much, Elvis Presley. It's been great.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
The mortal death of Elvis Aaron Presley on August 16th certainly has done very little to stunt his global popularity. As nearly 30,000 fans swarmed to his Memphis home of Graceland to commemorate the 20th anniversary of his death, we are reminded that the King of Rock is bigger than ever. From his humble beginnings in Tupelo, Mississippi, to his outrageous standing-room-only gigs in Vegas, Elvis Presley was the first and biggest rock star of all time, winning fans of all ages with his stirring, soulful voice, swinging hips, and smooth Southern charm. Those doubting Elvis's title as the king need only witness his 94 gold singles, 40-some gold albums, and movies collectively grossing over $180 million. Elvis's impact on rock itself is, of course, incalculable. Fashioning himself after screen idols James Dean and Marlon Brando, Elvis transformed himself into rock's original rebel. He was also perhaps its greatest stage performer, and certainly the most imitated. From his nasty curled lips and shaking hips of the early years to the exhilarating supersonic karate chops later on, Elvis never relented, always giving 100% of himself to his adoring fans, his performances dynamic, electrifying, and deeply soulful. Presley was a true American icon. His unlikely rise to superstardom is a rock and roll Cinderella story straight from the Americana of Horatio Alger. He was the truck-driving good old boy made glorious, the blue-collar kid next door who adamantly loved his mother and selflessly served his country when called. While the king may have lived in the lap of luxury, he still loved munching on fried peanut butter and banana sandwiches and playing tackle football with the boys. Whether it's Elvis sightings, skydiving Elvi, or Lisa Marie marrying Wacko Jacko, it seems that the king's smoky gaze is forever upon us.
The king of rock and roll is what they call him. With music in his soul, there's still a man. There had never been a king before him, and surely there won't be a king again. His memory lives on and alive forever. His memory lives on and alive forever. But never again will they sing his sweet songs for men, for God has taken him by the hand. He lived a life they call secluded, but never did he take her own again. Loved by the millions of fans who knew him, and now mourned by the billions at his grave. And his memory lives on in our lives forever. Well, his memory lives on in our lives forever. But never again will they sing a sweet
And now let's dive into the presidential stuff. You reminded me, you just talked about the men and women and the provision of freedom based on their sacrifice. I don't know if you've heard the audio or not, but earlier today, our friend Timothy Geithner said that wealthy people should pay more taxes because of the privilege of being an American.
Let's call a spade a spade. I mean, the entire current administration under the America-hating Barack Obama and the American-hating Joe Biden and the American Constitution criminal Eric Holder. Tim Geithner is a perfect example of what the current American government stinks like, because Tim Geithner is a tax cheat. Tim Geithner was caught not paying his taxes. So instead of being in jail, Tim Geithner, the tax cheat, is actually in charge of the economy, of our financial system. Are you kidding me? Why don't we just hire Jeffrey Dahmer to be in charge of the children's playground? I mean, this whole administration is so corrupt, it abuses power like no one in the history of the United States of America has ever done, and Tim Geithner is a poster child, just like Eric Holder, running guns to the Mexican drug gangs. Are you kidding me? Can it get crazier? Can it get more criminals than this? We have criminals. We have American-hating maniacs in our government, and Tim Geithner's latest nonsense is a perfect example of that.
So what do these candidates need to do? Because it doesn't seem like the four candidates that are still left on the Republican side of the aisle have been able to, in polls, come out ahead. And I know polling data is going to change, but what do you need to hear from one of these four guys, whoever the one is that comes out as the nominee? What needs to be said to the American people to convince them to make a change in November?
Well, number one, if we listen closely to the four Republican candidates, I have great admiration in varying degrees for each and every one of them. Each and every one of these candidates have some really, really quality positive points about them. And each one of them would make a vastly superior president of the United States than the current mess that we're in right now. That should be perfectly clear to anybody with a brain. But ultimately, these guys got to go down to the Army-Navy surplus store and buy themselves a box of scrotums. They got to get some balls. They got to get tough, condemning the current self-inflicted tailspin of the Obama administration, literally following the Cloward Piven and the Saul Alinsky playbook on how to destroy America, how to destroy freedom, how to destroy capitalism, how to literally condemn being the best that you can be while they reward people for being the worst that they can be. These four presidential candidates have to get a little tougher, a little bit more fist-pounding on the bully pulpit, and identify the curse, the abject curse that is the United States government the way it stands right now in the hands of Barack Hussein Obama and Eric Holder et al. So I admire these four Republican candidates, but until they show some real balls and some real adamancy, I don't think they're going to get the momentum they're going to need.
And see, I agree with you. I think there's been a lot of fighting back and forth, and I understand that in a primary. You want to show how you're different from your opponents. But I just think there is so much low-hanging fruit when it comes to this administration, especially now with its foreign policy and the Iranians and apologizing to Afghanistan. But now the gas prices looking like they're getting close to $4, maybe going to $5 a gallon. Why they're not going after this low-hanging fruit of the ridiculous policies of this administration?
Yeah, speaking of ridiculous policies, anti-American policies, this current anti-American monster in the White House, this administration is blatant and flagrantly abusing the Constitution, violating the Constitution, and continuing on a death march for America. So yeah, the four candidates, not just low-hanging fruit, Mike, is literally squashed, rotten fruit that has fallen on the ground, and anybody with a speck of brain or conscientiousness just has to reach down and pick up this bad fruit and expose it to the people that it's rotten, it's maggot-infested, and we need to quit with this stuff and start going for the best fruit we can, which comes straight from the United States Constitution.
Now, I know that you are a family guy. I know that that's very important to you. Give me a couple of things that are most important when you're looking. I'm not going to ask you to endorse a candidate with the four that are left, but what do you want? What is it about one of these guys that that's going to lean you toward them? What is going to be a deal maker for you for the guy you want to see come out of this ahead?
to, number one, maximize the strength of the United States military and the posture that we will take no crap, that we send a message to our allies and our enemies that we will never, ever expose ourselves to the conditions that brought about 9/11 by showing weakness, by not sharing the maximum intelligence and putting it to work every day, and letting the heroes of the various agencies, because there are still heroes in those federal agencies, and the ones that blow whistles and the ones that raise hell are the ones that we've got to listen to. So number one, national defense. Number two, the entire welfare program is slavery. We're literally enslaving people to feed off of a government and rewarding people to be the worst that they can be, to not try something, get rid of this embarrassment that there's a list of jobs Americans aren't willing to do. Are you kidding me? How about the condition where Americans have actually given up looking for work? That is so embarrassing. Why don't these people just move to France? So number one, national security, rewarding the productive and punishing the non-productive, because if you are non-productive, you chose to be non-productive. This is the kind of old guard American attitude of being the best, not accepting the worst, and, helping people out, but not letting Fedzilla help people out, because Fedzilla can't help people out. Fedzilla just teaches people to be dependent, and that's a soulless condition. And ultimately, the government should get the hell out of our personal lives. We should get back to the basics of the United States Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and not be reinterpreting things. The right to keep and bear arms means I get to keep it. You can't have it. And bear arms means I've got some on me right now. We got to get back to the basics. And when the basics are returned to, that candidate will win.
Okay, now last question for you. You said earlier you're 63 years old, and you don't show any signs to me of slowing down. Are you going to retire at some point? Are you ever going to give up performing live?
I can't imagine. I'm a lucky man. I can still dance like a Motown review, baby. And as long as I've got my health and as long as I maximize my priorities and balance my life between my family's needs and my personal needs, i.e. the hunting season, as long as I can balance out the recharging of my spirit and my soul and my energy, I'll continue to do what I do every day. Mike, every day I get up, I am 63 now. I got two real bad knees. I have to have both of my knees replaced. But I thank God every day I wake up in America and that brave heroes of the U.S. military are willing to sacrifice everything so that I can live by the U.S. Constitution, being the best that I can be. That's so simple. It's bizarre that this president is against those basic American ways. So, yeah, I'll keep going as long as I can, as long as people keep showing up to my concerts and I keep being surrounded by the world's greatest musicians. My music has a life of its own. It's a force to reckon with, and I celebrate that every day. And I also put my heart and soul into being the best that I can be, so I attract these incredible musicians so that people come to a Ted Nugent concert and they go, oh my God, what? Because the music is so intense. It's the soundtrack for defiance and freedom and rugged individualism. As long as that inspires me every day, I can't be stopped. Write that down.
One last question. I said that was my last one, but you just reminded me of something. If you're going to tour with Styx and REO Speedwagon, if you're going to be with Styx, are we going to hear any damn Yankee stuff?
Boy, would that be wonderful? I would love to do that. Tommy and I have been talking, and if there's time, see, the tough part about being on tour with the Ted Nugent Band, Styx, and REO is they're going to be really difficult to get a timing schedule that allows all of us to put out our best concert, our longest possible, most songs every night. So if we can wrangle a good balance between everybody getting maximum amount of time on stage, and maybe I'll come back and jam with Styx for an encore, or maybe Tommy can come back and jam with me for an encore, I wouldn't put it past us. We might even do some James Browns and some Rolling Stone and Yardbird songs.
That'd be awesome. I want to make sure then when you're in Arizona next time, I want to make sure we get you in studio again. It's always great to talk with you, Ted. It's a pleasure, and I appreciate the time, and I can't wait to see you face-to-face again.
Well, back at you, Mike, and Godspeed to you all. Keep standing up for the self-evident truths that make this great country so great. A salute to Governor Brewer, a salute to Sheriff Joe Arpaio and all the great men and women of the Maricopa County Sheriff's Department. And you guys keep standing your ground there, and I'm with you all the way.
All right, thanks a lot. That is Ted Nugent, the man. Uncle Ted joins us for a few moments. We'll be back. Don't go away.
The Mike Broomhead Show. News Talk 550 KFYI.
KFYI.com.
Did the launch chair go off?
Elvis, you could see it
So I
in
had
the
bacon,
sky
lettuce, tomato
when it
sandwich.
disconnected up there. Gigi and him saw the explosion. I didn't know it
I had lunch.
because it just launched right over here.
I had lunch.
I was buried in a beaver.
How was your lunch?
No, they don't have sound right, man.
Who do you want to
Oh, that's right. They don't have sound. Feel a little bit now.
They do?
No,
They don't have sound.
it's just picture.
Oh, is
You
it?
let-
Just
they got
picture,
sound taped in here, ain't they?
You sneaky.
That's why I want to say no. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They believe that section out right there.
Now you got to do a 5-minute monologue over this.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
5-minute monologue to cover it, man.
What a friend we have in the editor.
We have people.
Did the launch chair go off?
Elvis, you could see it
So I
in
had
the
bacon,
sky
lettuce, tomato
when it
sandwich.
disconnected up there. Gigi and him saw the explosion. I didn't know it
I had lunch.
because it just launched right over here.
I had lunch.
I was buried in a beaver.
How was your lunch?
No, they don't have sound right, man.
Who do you want to
Oh, that's right. They don't have sound. Feel a little bit now.
They do?
No,
They don't have sound.
it's just picture.
Oh, is
You
it?
let-
Just
They got
picture,
sound taped in here, ain't they?
You sneaky.
That's why I want to say no. I wanted to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. They believe that section out right there.
Now you got to do a 5-minute monologue over this.
What a friend we have in Jesus.
5-minute monologue to cover it, man.
What a friend we have in the editor.
We have people.
Are you hard, please, making a selection of your wardrobe for your casual wear?
Not especially. Not especially because I don't know that much about clothes. It doesn't make a difference, really.
However, you have become a little bit more conservative.
Well, you get a little older, you know. That's like the sideburns. They were okay for a while, but you outgrow them.
Don't you miss them?
The sideburns? Not especially, no. The Army took care of those. If I answered that, I'd lose a lot of friends.
How about the room about Nancy Sharp?
Is Nita around here anywhere? No, I don't know. It was just one of those deals, you know. I just dated her for a few times. It's kind of funny. You go out with a girl and a couple times, and there's a big romance, you know. They had me married a couple times. I was down on Wilshire Boulevard one night, and some people. I was in the lobby of the theater. Some people said, "I thought you were in Mexico City on your honeymoon." And I come to find out that it was in a Mexican paper that I was eloped and was coming there to get married. And they had a hotel suite reserved and all that stuff. And I even know the girl I was supposed to be married to. Things like that happen.
Elvis, most show people have superstitions. Do you have any particular superstitions?
Well, I'm pretty superstitious about certain. You talking about black cats, things like that?
Any ones in particular? Do you have any particular superstitions you believe especially in?
No, just little things like breaking mirrors, things like that. Photographers. You said that's your line.
Elvis, do you still consider Nita Wood just a friend?
Well, yeah. I mean, I see her quite a bit, but there's nothing really serious. I see a lot of people quite a bit. These photographers are taking pictures of each other now.
Elvis, do you do much thinking ahead?
Quite a bit, yes.
Just let things take its course. What do you see your place in the entertainment world 10 years from now?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Johnson, I wouldn't say, because the entertainment world is so unpredictable, and people change and times change. It would be hard to say, really. I wouldn't try to answer that, because the only thing I can say is that I'm trying to make it acting, you know. I mean, it takes a long time, a lot of work, a lot of experience. But I'm trying to make it that way, and if I can get established that way, I'm okay.
Get away from it all.
The devil won't let me take my money. Get away from it all. No, I enjoy it. Anytime I want to be alone, I can be, you know. But these are the type of things that you take advantage of while they last. You know, you take advantage of it because you may not have it later, and you'll miss it, you know. You'll miss the people, you'll miss all the razzle-dazzle and so forth. Well, I have a pretty good time. And so forth.
Always feel like home when you get back to Memphis.
Yes, I do.
Right. That we won't keep.
It sure does. That's one reason that I'll keep a home here, because I like California. I like to work there. But when a picture's over, I look forward to getting out of there and coming back home. And also, I'm right near Tupelo, and I know a lot of people down there. Same old crowd that I was raised up with still live there in the same houses. I was down there about 3 weeks ago. And the wind had blown the sign down. With the youth center being built, they got a big sign up. The wind had blown it down. We tried to put it back up, and it fell on us. There was 3 of us trying to lift it back up. The sign fell on us.
Did you anticipate that you'd send to be examined?
I couldn't tell you. It's going to take a lot of money. But it will be eventually. I couldn't say when. But I'm trying to make it that way, and if I can get established that way, I'm okay. But now, I don't know how long the music end of it will last. I don't know how long I'll last. I got no idea, really.
Now, you only have 2 persons that understand the plan.
Right.
You plan to go barnstorming again in the future?
Well, the colonel could probably answer that better than I. There's nothing planned right now. I know that eventually we've got to do a European tour to all these countries that presented these awards and things, you know. But I don't know exactly. Are we going to be doing any?
We're waiting for the deposit.
He said that. I didn't say it.
What's your weight now, Elvis?
180.
What were you when you came out about a year ago?
175 when I came out. I gained about 5 pounds.